دم عشقت بیابون پرورم که هوای بخت بی بال و پرم که به ما گفتی صبوری کن صبوری طرف خاکی بر سرم که
فرارسیدن نوروز باستانی را به ملت ایران شادباش می‌گویم و مثل همیشه برای همه شما در سالی که اکنون به فرخندگی آغاز می‌شود شادکامی و رفاه فراوان آرزو می‌کنم.
جهان هیچ دیگر دوست دارم تو را ای کهن بنمور دوست دارم، تو را ای گران مایه دیرین ایران، تو را ای گرامی گوهر دوست دارم.
ز پوچ جهان هیچ اگر دوست دارم، تو را ای کهن بنمور دوست دارم، تو را ای کهن پیر جاوید برنا، تو را دوست دارم اگر دوست دارم، تو را ای گران مایه دیرین ایران، تو را ای گرامی گوهر دوست دارم، تو را ای گرامی گوهر دوست دارم. تو را ای کهنزاد بوم بزرگان، بزرگ آفرین نامور دوست دارم، هم آفاق رویایت را که جاوید در آفاق رویا سفر دوست دارم، جهان تا جهان است پیروز باشی، برومند و بیدار و بهروز باشی، جهان تا جهان است پیروز باشی، برومند و بیدار و بهروز باشی. شهیدان جانباز و فرزانت را که بودند فخر بشر دوست دارم، من آن جاودان یاد مردان که بودند به هر قرن چندین نفر دوست دارم، جهان تا جهان است پیروز باشی، برومند و بیدار و بهروز باشی، جهان تا جهان است پیروز باشی، برومند و بیدار و بهروز باشی.
Okay, let me break this down so you can quickly get the distinction. You've heard of Persia, right? The Persian Empire, Persian rugs, Persian cats, the Prince of Persia, which by the way, Disney got incredibly accurate. Yes, Persia is pretty much synonymous with Iran. Now, not everyone in Iran is Persian, but it's a huge part of their story, which we will begin discussing. Aside, Iran has a deep history and story in the Middle East that extends millennia in the past that would probably be wise to educate yourself on. First of all, Iran is located in Western Asia, bordered by 7 other countries, as well as the Caspian Sea to the north, the Persian Gulf and the Gulf of Oman to the south, divided by the Strait of Hormuz, which is like one of the most important sea passages in the world. The country is divided into 31 provinces, with the capital Tehran located in the north-central region. Now keep in mind, before Tehran, Iran actually had 30 previous capitals throughout their history, more than any other country in the world. Otherwise, Iran also divides the country into 5 non-constituent unit regions for administrative purposes, each one containing 6 provinces, except for one region containing 7, which also includes the capital. Finally, although they are administered by Iran, the country also has a current dispute over the Abu Musa and the Greater and Lesser Tum Islands with the United Arab Emirates, nearby the Strait of Hormuz in the Persian Gulf. After Tehran, the largest cities are Mashhad in the east and Isfahan in the center, and the largest airports are, of course, Tehran's 2 twins, Mehrabad and Imam Khomeini International, Mashhad International, and Shiraz International. Iran also takes ownership of about 30 or so islands in the Gulf and technically 1 island in the Caspian Sea, Ashur Ade Island, which, however, it's kind of more like a loose peninsula. One thing you have to understand is that Iran takes their position and borders very seriously, as they are kind of like a land bridge located right at the crossroads between the Middle East, the Caucasus, as well as the Central and South Asian regions. The most important and largest seaport would be Bandar Abbas, which also houses the Iranian Navy, located right at the entrance at the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, due to its incredible history, Iran is overflowing with landmarks and sites. Some of the top notable ones might include places like Nakhchivan Square, Milad Tower, Golestan Palace, Persian Garden, the Armenian monastic ensembles of Iran, the Tomb of Hafez, the Azadi Tower Freedom Monument, the Pigeon Tower, Yazd, the holiest place for Zoroastrians, Chogazanbil Ziggurat, the Mayamand Cave Village, the Imam Reza Shrine, the Khaju Bridge, Argebam, the Shushtar Hydraulic System, the Tomb of Cyrus the Great, the Tomb of Daniel. Too many famous mosques and shrines to list, and pretty much everything in Persepolis. Iran was able to build so much of their own personal space, partially due to the fact that they were easily well protected by natural boundaries, or barricaded in. You decide. Let's explain it. You know what's funny? The world's hottest surface temperature ever recorded was 70.7 degrees Celsius in the Lut Desert in Iran, and yet Iran is also like the best ski resort area in the Middle East. First of all, Iran's most important topographical barriers are the Zakhros Mountains in the west, which also contain the largest lake, Urmia, and the mountains also feed the longest river, the Karun, in the south, which flows into the Gulf, as well as the Alborz Mountains along the north, which contain the largest mountain, Mount Damavand, which is also the tallest volcano in all of Asia, like it's still active. There's so much mining potential in these mountains as well, which makes Iran the largest producer of turquoise and zinc. Otherwise, they have 2 main deserts, the Kavir and Lut, located in the central plateau, and the only real flat part of Iran is in the Khuzestan region right next to Iraq. Iran is right on the boundary of the Arabian and Eurasian tectonic plates, which in return makes Iran the country with the most number of major earthquakes, of at least 5.5 on the Richter scale. And now, Iran is kind of like this strange anomaly that sticks out from the rest of the Middle East, because it has alpine mountains with flowers and snow and water and green, especially in the north along the coast of the Caspian. I mean, sure, there are dry, arid deserts too, but overall, Iran is a lot more lush. This allows them to harbor river valleys for agriculture, which makes them the #1 producer of pistachios, saffron, stone fruits. By the way, Iranians love saffron. They put it in like half of everything. Speaking of which, some top foods from Iran might include things like pomegranate walnut stew, kuku, mirza kasemi, various rice dishes like jeweled rice, bakala, lubia, shirin, various kebabs like juje, kubide, torsh, and bakhyari. Desserts like rosewater pudding, khalva, sarshir, bami, nokhodshi, and falude. By the way, half those dishes had saffron in them. 2 other things Iran cannot live without: tea and caviar. In fact, Iran is the largest producer of caviar in the world, mostly from sturgeons fished off the coast of the Caspian. Speaking of which, Iran surprisingly has quite an array of wildlife, including gazelles, wolves, falcons, storks, buzzards, and of course the famous Persian cat. Speaking of cats, Iran is home to some of the last only few remaining surviving Persian lions, which is, by the way, the national animal, Persian leopards, and yes, even Asiatic cheetahs. The biggest natural resource, though, would have to be, no surprise, oil. Iran is the 2nd largest oil producer in the Middle East after Saudi Arabia, and about 60% of their total reserves are located around the Persian Gulf. It's estimated that the country should have about 125 billion barrels in reservoirs, 10% of the world's total reserves, and they pump out about 4 million barrels a day. That's a lot. So with all the geographic isolation but abundance of resources, you might wonder, what is life like in Iran? Well, I'm so glad you asked. Iran is interesting because it's caught in this strange new transition period in which everything in the new generation of millennials has has a tincture of subtle defiance. First of all, Iran has about 80 million people and is the second most populated country in the Middle East after Egypt and has the highest number of Shias in the world. About 62% of the country is ethnically Persian, whereas the second largest ethnic groups are the Azeris at about 16%, Kurds at about 10%, while the remainder is made up of smaller but noticeable groups like the Lurs, the Baluchis, Arabs, Turkic groups, and others. They also use the Iranian rial as their currency, they use the type CEF outlets, and they drive on the right side of the road. Now let's emphasize this one more time. Persians are not Arabs. That's like the worst thing you can say to them. First of all, what is it like to be a Persian? Well, you kind of have to understand that Iran evolved a lot differently from all the other countries in the Middle East. History will take way too long to explain, but the quickest way I can put it, Proto-Elamites, Elam, Median Empire, Persian or Achaemenid Empire, Alexander the Great, the Seleucid, Parthian, and Sassanid empires. Islam enters through the Umayyad Caliphate, the Abbasid Caliphate, Saffarids and Samanids come in from the east, then some weird splitting up, the Ghaznavid, Seljuk, and Khwarezmian empires, Mongols, the Ilkhanate, Timurid, Safavid, and Afsharid empires, the Zand and Qajar dynasties, quick Pahlavi dynasty, Islamic Republic, a little drama here and there, and here we are today. Now, the biggest distinction of Iran would probably be the language. The official language of Iran is Persian or Farsi, an Indo-European language also spoken in Afghanistan and Tajikistan, although they have their own dialects, which is completely unintelligible to Arabic. The interesting thing, though, is that Persians still hold on to a lot of ancient Persian customs and traditions that predate even Islam. For example, for over 3,000 years, Persians and other Persian-related people groups across the world still celebrate Nowruz, or Persian New Year, usually on March 21st or the vernal equinox. A mostly secular holiday, however, it actually has roots and is considered holy to Zoroastrians. Zoroastrianism actually started in Iran and at one point was actually the state religion. Persians also have their own distinct art, which usually depicts human figures more often than other Sunni cultures. They have their own traditions, clothing, music, opera, poetry, sports. Polo was invented here, and they have that ancient warrior training thing. They have handicrafts. Everybody knows that Persian rugs are like some of the most sought after in the world. But remember, not all Iranians are Persians, and some of these groups have expressed separatist movement desires in the past, but with pretty much no actual success. The second largest group, the Turkic Azeris, or Azerbaijanis, mostly live in the northwest along the borders of Turkey and the Caucasus regions, where their cousins, the actual Azerbaijanis in Azerbaijan, live. They are basically the same people, except one group speaks Farsi. Although exact numbers are kind of hard to estimate, today there are about twice as many to 3 times more Azeris living in Iran than there are in Azerbaijan. Then you have the Kurds that live along the west as well, and then you have the Arabs that mostly inhabit the flat Khuzestan areas by Iraq. You have the Baluchi people in the southwest along the border with Pakistan. Each of these people groups has their own language, culture, and history. Oh, and keep in mind, Persia is mentioned numerous times in the Bible. Iranian Jews believe that they are descended from Queen Esther, and they, as well as Christians, believe that King Cyrus was prophesied in the book of Isaiah. Speaking of which, although the vast majority of the population is Shia Muslim, there are communities of non-Muslims, mostly Christians and Jews too. Everyone in Iran is now kind of trying to find like loopholes and subtle cheats to avoid the religiously imposed laws. Although the hijab is required for all women in public, most women just loosely wear it, exposing their necks and front hair, almost as if it's like a fashion accessory rather than a religious article. Skateboarding, punk rock, and metal culture has already penetrated the youth, even women, although it's interesting because it's like Persian punk rock and metal. People meet at underground clubs and parties all the time wearing whatever they want with open bars and music. If you catch them in their element, Persians are actually seriously like some of the most fun people you'll ever meet.
برای خواهرم، خواهرت، خواهرامون، برای تغییر مغزها که پوسیدن، برای شرمندگی، برای بیپولی، برای حسرت یک زندگی معمولی، برای کودک زباله‌گرد و آرزوهاش، برای این اقتصاد دستوری، برای این هوای آلوده، برای ولیعصر و درختای فرسوده، برای پیروز و احتمال انقراضش، برای سگهای بیگناه ممنوعه، برای گریه های بیوقفه، برای تصویر تکرار این لحظه، برای چهره ای که میخنده، برای دانش آموزا، برای آینده، برای این بهشت اجباری، برای نخبه های زندانی، برای کودکان افغانی، برای این همه، برای غیر تکراری، برای این همه شعارهای تو خالی، برای آوار خونه های پوشالی، برای احساس آرامش، برای خورشید پس از شبای طولانی، برای بورسای حساب و بیخوابی، برای مرد میهن آبادی، برای دختری که آرزو داشت پسر بود، برای زن زندگی آزادی.